Chelsea 0-1 Bournemouth. Jose Mourinho's men are beaten at Stamford Bridge again after Glenn Murray's late winner, as Blues are left 3 points above Premier League's relegation zone. Diego Costa started on the bench as Jose Mourinho dropped the striker from the starting lineup. Boos rang around Stamford Bridge at half-time with the game at 0-0 and Bournemouth threatening. Costa was brought on by Mourinho for the second half, replacing Oscar as Chelsea chased the opener. Glenn Murray scored the winner for Bournemouth in the 82nd minute to condemn Chelsea to defeat. It leaves Chelsea with only 15 points this season and 3 points above the relegation zone. Chelsea's season was meandering on towards mediocrity at Stamford Bridge when it was suddenly tossed onto the Rapids again. Labouring towards a goalless draw against lowly, injury-ravaged Bournemouth, Chelsea were sunk by a late winner from the visitors' substitute Glenn Murray. It was his first touch. Boos rang around the ground again when the final whistle confirmed an 8th Chelsea League defeat in this season that has been startling for its ordinariness. The idea that Jose Mourinho's job might be under pressure has been banished for a while, but this reverse put it back on the agenda. Chelsea are now 14 points behind Manchester United, who occupy 4th place in the Premier League, and even though none of the top teams are showing much appetite for the title chase, Mourinho came close to accepting it is looking increasingly unlikely that Chelsea will qualify for the Champions League next season. Perhaps more pertinently, with 15 games gone and only 15 points garnered, Chelsea sit a mere 3 points clear of the relegation zone. They find themselves in such reduced circumstances that last week's goalless draw at Spurs was hailed as a mini-revival. That revival is over now. They have only won one league game since October 17 and there are new questions over Mourinho's ability to breathe new life into their season. He was curt when he was asked if he was still the man to do it. He said that before the game he had hoped Chelsea still might make the top 4. Now, he said, he was no longer setting targets. Bournemouth deserve much credit, too. They held their own in the first half and defended stoutly when they were outplayed after the break. They never stopped showing ambition, and after the match, their manager, Eddie Howe, hailed the win at the home of the champions as the greatest moment in Bournemouth's history. If there was one consolation for Mourinho, it was that Diego Costa, relegated once again to the bench, managed to get through the first half without chucking his bib at him. Even that bonus was spoiled by the fact that when Costa came on after the interval, he was as ineffective in front of goal as he has been all season. Chelsea huffed and puffed throughout the match. They squandered several good chances and Eden Hazard and Willian providing some moments of wonderful quality. But overall, they looked pedestrian, predictable and drained of the confidence that coursed through them last season. Quite where they go from here is hard to see. They were at least bolstered by the return of Thibaut Courtois in goal and he made several crucial saves. But their domestic season is a mess and as the festive program approaches, it is close to the point of being unsalvageable. They had started confidently, with Hazard and Willian swapping flicks and backheels in the first minute and Hazard bringing a parried save out of Borjuk. But when Hazard dwelled too long on the ball in his own half soon afterwards, it was Bournemouth who created the game's first real chance. The ball found Junior Stanislas at the back post but his fierce goal-bound shot was blocked by Gary Cahill before it could test Courtois on his return to the first team after injury. Bournemouth hit their stride, zipping the ball around, playing with the kind of technical confidence rare in the Premier League. Their control was excellent, their movement superb. Chelsea found it hard to get near them. A lightning counter-attack ended with Courtois having to save low from Stanislas and then, after quarter of an hour, Courtois came to Chelsea's rescue again, getting down fast to his left to push away a fierce low shot from Joshua King. Several inviting Chelsea crosses curled across the face of the Bournemouth area without an attacking player getting anywhere near it and after half an hour, Costa began to warm up on the touchline, a green big over his white club tracksuit top. Costa warmed up for 15 minutes, during which time Hazard and Pedro forced good saves out of Borjuk and a couple more crosses fizzed across goal. He came back to the dugout just before half-time. He edged behind Mourinho and sat down. He kept his bib on. He was rewarded for his patience and his bib discipline at the interval when Mourinho brought him on for Oscar. Stamford Bridge received the news of his recall with a huge cheer. They expected Costa to take his frustration out on the Bournemouth defence this time, not his manager. Chelsea started to look more dangerous. A cross from Willian, hit with curl and pace, swung across the face of the Bournemouth goal and was headed over the bar at the back post by the masked Matic. A few minutes later, Costa's header from a corner was hacked off the line. Costa, inevitably, was soon at the centre of everything, wrestling with Bournemouth players, bundling them over, appealing madly, looking on with dismayed devastation whenever a decision was given against him. He deserved some sympathy just after an hour when Simon Francis slid in to block Costa's cross inside the area and the ball hit the Bournemouth skipper's trailing arm. It looked like a penalty. Mike Jones waved play on. Bournemouth were pinned back in their own half now. Mediocrity had whistled a shot over the bar earlier but it was an isolated breakout. Willian and Pedro came more and more to the fore and Ivanovic found increasing freedom to cross from the right. Some beautiful interplay between Hazard and Fabregas freed the right back again 18 minutes from time but with Costa lurking at the back post, Ivanovic overhit his cross. Fabregas put his head in his hands. On the touchline, Mourinho turned away in frustration. It got worse. 2 minutes later, Ivanovic was through again and this time it seemed as though Chelsea would pass the ball into the net. Pedro and Costa were both waiting in the middle but Ivanovic slid his cross just too far ahead of Pedro and his slight touch took it away from Costa at the back post. Then, 8 minutes from the end, Bournemouth hit Chelsea with the sucker punch. Courtois flapped at a corner from the Chelsea left and even though Steve Cook slipped as he turned the ball back across goal, it squirted to Murray, who nodded it firmly into an empty net. After the match, Mourinho claimed Murray was offside and said Chelsea were always unlucky. He will not get much sympathy. "We've got the special one," the Bournemouth fans sang to Howe. That tag was Mourinho's own for a long time. It doesn't seem to fit anymore.